The Noble Eightfold Path is the 8 righteous paths that help sentient beings reach a life of wisdom, and also the 8 miraculous paths that lead sentient beings to the status of a saint. The Noble Eightfold Path consists of right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and finally, right concentration. Just as Shakyamuni Buddha taught the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddhas of the 3 times also share it in the same way. This means the Buddhas of the past and the future proclaim this teaching exactly as it is, because it is the absolute truth. The word Chan, right, in this path means correct.
First, right view is seeing and understanding impartially and righteously, which means seeing and understanding correctly. When sentient beings see and understand all matters and things correctly, all clinging and illusions will no longer exist in their minds. This correct seeing and understanding is the only method to begin eradicating all false views, and it is also the fundamental stepping stone to prepare for eliminating all delusive thoughts later on. This is why the Buddha placed right view first. The ultimate goal of Buddhism is liberation and enlightenment, but Buddhist philosophy is always closely tied to life in this world. First of all, the Buddha teaches people to have a correct view of themselves and all things around them. What is correct and true is called nuti, as it is in Buddhism. Seeing correctly means seeing things exactly as they are. For example, a rope is a rope. Do not be deluded into thinking it is a snake. It is also like a mirror. If a person appears, it reflects the exact image of the person, and if the moon appears, it reflects the exact image of the moon. Because of the Buddha's correct seeing and understanding, there is a saying, to know things as they are, to see things as they are, meaning we must see and know worldly affairs and the world exactly as they are. That is, the Buddha did not explain things based on his imagination to attribute meanings or values to things that they inherently do not have. In other words, do not sugarcoat, do not condemn, do not judge, but rather thoroughly see the true nature of all things. Because people are obscured by ignorance, it is difficult for them to see correctly. Objects in the universe are inanimate, yet humans assign them flowery terms, such as a sad and gloomy pine hill or an autumn lake with a gentle sorrow. Does the pine hill know how to be sad? And how does the surface of the water know what gentle sorrow is?
Therefore, if you want to see correctly, do not add your egoistic views. Just see things as they are, and a deluded mind will not arise. Only with correct seeing and understanding can you have correct thinking, followed by correct speech, and finally, correct action. Thus, right view is a solid foundation for building the house of the Noble Eightfold Path. No house of the Noble Eightfold Path can be sturdy if the practitioner does not mindfully and deeply practice right view daily to help us see correctly. Only with correct seeing and understanding can we deeply practice the saying all dharmas are empty, dependently originated like an illusion, so that our body, speech, and mind can become pure. Furthermore, we are living in a relative world, meaning one thing depends on another. In other words, if we want to see correctly, we must recognize what a wrong view is. The more wrong views we recognize, the more we understand right view. For example, The fundamental philosophy of Buddhism is cause and effect, but if we keep believing in drawing fortune sticks, fortune-telling, or horoscopes, we are walking on the path of wrong views. If we sow the seed but want someone else to reap the fruit, is that possible? If we do not do good deeds or give charity but want to enjoy blessings, will it happen? If we do not practice cultivation but want to become a Buddha, can we? If someone claims to be this Bodhisattva or that Avalokitesvara, this is definitely a wrong view. Bodhisattvas or arhats manifest in this world frequently, but they never reveal their true identities. Why? Because saints work for the benefit of others, meaning for the benefit of sentient beings, without caring about themselves. They voluntarily enter the world to save sentient beings and then leave. Ordinary people, on the other hand, work for their own self-interest and fame, not for the public good. When the Buddha was still alive, one day he asked the bhikkhus, "How long is a human life?" "World-honored one, a human lives for 10 years. The Buddha said, "You have not yet seen the path." Another bhikkhu replied, "A human life lasts for 15 days. The Buddha shook his head and said, "You have not yet seen the path either." And so, the bhikkhus took turns answering, "A human lives for 3 months, 1 month, down to 1 day." Finally, the last bhikkhu stood up and said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, a human life lasts only within a single breath." The Buddha nodded and praised him, "You have seen the path." The Buddha said the path here is the truth, because if a person no longer breathes, they lose their life. Seeing that human life is fleeting and temporary, which Buddhism calls conditional existence, means we have seen correctly, which is right knowledge and right view. Generally speaking, humans have 5 wrong views that require attention. First, view of the body, ignorantly believing that our body and our possessions truly exist. Second, extreme view, when we stubbornly cling to the idea that our body and possessions truly exist, we will definitely lean towards one of 2 extremes. One is nihilism, when our body dies, everything ends. The other is eternalism, when our body dies, it remains unchanging. Third, clinging to views, learning and adhering to inferior, narrow-minded ideologies and heretical doctrines, while considering them miraculous. Fourth, clinging to rules and rituals, following the nonsensical rules and rituals of heretical groups to pray for rebirth in heaven. Fifth, wrong view, believing in flawed logic or religions that claim human life has no cause and effect, and there is no retribution for good and evil. These 5 wrong views make people dark, blind, and immersed in impurities. However, wrong views are profound subjects that help us recognize what right view is, serving as a foundation to perfect the process of practicing the Noble Eightfold Path.